welcome to Talking Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilot, the one, the only, Mr. Dom C. Dom, how you doing tonight?
Well, my friend, as well as I could be. Pretty numb, pretty over it. You know, the whole gamut of emotion that us as Jets fans go through, man.
Yeah, man, it's been rough. Boys and girls, if you're just hopping in here, make sure you hit that like button for us. We are recapping the Jets' miserable, horrible season. We have lost to the Denver Broncos in the most Jets way possible, 13-11, over in London. Embarrassing one, Woody Johnson. Jet fans have been kind of on fire over the last 24 hours or so. There's a poll question in the chat. Should Glenn be one and done? You guys can vote on that. Yes, no, to be determined. You guys can leave a comment in the chat. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say, and we'll give you guys our thoughts as we kind of go on throughout tonight. So, Dom, I want to throw it to you as far as yesterday's game. Obviously, we had the London game. We started at 9:30, so we got the pain and torment out of our system early in the day, and we were able to, either watch football the rest of the day or do something else with our day. What'd you make of yesterday's game?
I was explaining to somebody. Sorry, as I'm congested, I'm fighting a cold. You know what yesterday felt like? Like I got over when I was done with the game, and I kind of just sat here in my, in my office and kind of just let it all settle for a little bit. I kind of felt like that same feeling a couple years back. You remember when we had that game in New England where Zach had an awful quarterback game? It was the wind game. What was he? I don't even remember it was like 6-3 we lost or something like that.
That was a bad one where it's the, do you think you could have done anything better? No.
Yes.
Or do you think you let your defense down? And he said, no.
Yeah, no.
And they returned, I think it was a returned punt for a touchdown at the end.
Correct.
I think that's what actually ended up winning it.
Correct. So after that game, I sat and I said to myself, I felt like this ain't gonna work. This is I don't know if there's any coming back from this. If nothing more, it's as bad as it's gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how I felt yesterday. That same that same feeling, that same vibe, that same emotion came out of me and saying, I just don't know if this is gonna get any better. Now, it doesn't only have to do with Fields, although he's, to me, the main culprit of it all and of these feelings. But man, I've been saying it for a couple weeks now, and I've been saying it for more than a couple weeks now. Aaron Glenn, old Jet, rah, all that stuff aside, he wasn't my first choice for a coach. He wasn't my second or third choice either. However, I digress. There's something about that, bravado that I knew was going to not gel, not vibe with the media and the fans if things didn't go well. And, he's not doing himself any favors. It was maybe the most peculiar and, sophomoric game management that I've ever experienced from a coach. And you tie that in with Justin Fields, just cementing the fact that he's just bad at football. And we lose 13-11. It
was absolutely brutal. And I agree. I think, Fields has obviously been a major hurdle. I think outside of the first game, he's really been a detriment. Even some of this, the stats that look oh, that's not so bad. That's better than we've gotten, in years past. It's no, a lot of this is garbage time. A lot of this is uncompetitive football at different points. And then yesterday, taking 9 sacks and having only 9 completions is absolutely bonkers. And then you kind of combine that with the decision-making from Glenn, both at the end of the half and the end of the game, just head-scratching, lack of urgency at the end of the half. And then to call a timeout on, what was it, 3rd down? When the Broncos had a timeout they needed to burn, and the Jets were kind of in this area of not really sure if they should go for it or not. And we burn a timeout. It's well, what? And then they decide okay, now we're going to go for it on 4th down.
They punted.
Well, no,
right?
they punt.
After
punted.
that burn timeout, they punted. It was 4th and 1, right?
They tried to what they do. They tried to milk the clock because did they get out of it?
No, he burned a timeout. I mean, we could be thinking of 2 different spots in the game, but he burned a timeout at 4th and 1. You figured they were going to go for it, and then he just sent out the punting team, and they punted.
Yes. And then later on in the game, we have the what was it, 61-yard field goal is what Folk would have had to come
No, 63-yard field goal, but
would have been a beast.
Yeah, it would have been a beast. I mean, it would have been 6 or 7 yards past his longest ever. I'm fine. Like, listen, all right, if you don't want to try that,
4 yards. Okay. Oh, it was the fake punt. They fake punt. Was that time?
That fake punt was the first half.
That's what I'm saying. Well, so I think that's what they're getting at. At the end of the half was the fake
at the end of the half was the fake punt. Correct. It was the fake punt.
And we got the first down.
And we got the first down, and then he just milked out the rest of the clock.
Yeah.
Like absolutely asinine. Absolutely asinine.
Made no sense. And then at the end of the game, for a team that has 9 completions on the day with 9 sacks, and you have like sure as shit, okay, it's gonna be a long field goal called 62 yards is what Josh was saying in the chat. If it's 62 yards, at least you have an opportunity. At 58 yards, 4 yards further than his longest kick. Like, sure, it may be like a long shot, but I consider it more of a long shot to even get a friggin' first down at that point. 4th and 8.
Yeah. Listen, I think of all the decisions, that's not the one that irks me the most. I think the end of the way you ended the half really
that looked more Looney Tunes.
Tops cake. Really takes the cake, I should say. Just not really adjusting anything on the offensive scheme. Like, the defense came to play. Good for them. They played their butts off. I think Nania had a good tweet. It's when when a team holds an opponent under 14 points, wins the turnover battle, and under 250 yards of total offense, teams are 62-0. Well, they were 62-0. They're now 62-1. It's
bonkers.
It's absolutely, undeniably, like, it just the most pitiful offensive performance and combination of offensive performance and coaching that I've ever seen. And I've watched a lot of football, man. I'm in my late 40s. I'm in my late 40s, and I've seen a lot of football. And people, the real old timers will tell you, oh, this is nothing like the Kotite era. Yeah, well, I beg to differ. You know what I mean? I beg to differ. That yesterday was just horrendous. Yesterday was absolutely horrendous. And Ryan, I don't know if you even had a chance yet, or if you do. Some people do, some people don't. No big deal. But if you've gone through that, the all 22 from the game, man, there's guys that are just wide open. And we say that every week. Say it every week. There's guys that are open, and Fields just refuses to throw the ball. I don't know if it's a mental thing now at this point. A mental thing in the sense of some sort of hitch or mental block where he has to clutch, and by the time he triple clutches, it's gone, or he's not, progressing past that first read, which has been the struggle in the first 5 years of his career. It's just bad, man. It's so bad. It wasn't NFL caliber quarterback play yesterday. It was awful. I don't know if it can get worse. I don't know where to go from here. Now we're going to be missing Garrett Wilson for a couple weeks. Looks like Brees is trying to sign his, way on the first train ride out of here. So the few weapons that you had are now gone. I just don't know what the plan is, what the game plan is. I really don't. It's gonna
get ugly. Cuddy wants to know, in your humble opinion, does Tyrod win that game? I think so. I mean, it's hard to say. I think anyone with a pulse could have possibly won. The fact that you and I had more net passing yards than Justin Fields did yesterday is bonkers.
Yeah. Listen, 9 sacks doesn't help any. But it was over 4 seconds.
It was like 5.5 seconds, I think, was the time to sack.
Yeah. it was crazy. Now, you go down, a bunch of people broke down all 9 sacks, and I think the consensus is like 2 of them, the alignment got beat. Okay, that's fine. Can't blame it all on Justin Fields. 2 of them, the play design was kind of like shitty, and maybe guys weren't open, but you still had more than enough time to get and throw the ball away. And then the rest, man, are just fucking on the quarterback. They're just on the quarterback, of just holding the ball way too long. Like, at this point, I don't know what's worse. I never thought we'd have to rehash Zach Wilson, but is him running backwards 15 yards trying to extend plays worse than him than just Fields just double and triple clutching? So it's just not throwing the ball. I don't get it.
I'd love to take like the Justin Fields like sort of locker room presence and sort of humbleness that because I do think he's like a pretty good dude with like Zach's like athleticism and like arm. Like there's plenty of opportunities where like Zach threw like real bad clunkers, but like I don't know how many like wow throws we've seen from Justin Fields. And when I think back to yesterday's game, it's hard for me to think of a play that Justin Fields made during yesterday's game that Tyrod Taylor couldn't make, or that another quarterback couldn't have performed at a better level. Because I haven't watched the all 22, but I've seen plenty of clips and plenty of freeze frames where it's like, okay, you got 1, 2 guys like wide open, like the Garrett Wilson run to the out to the sideline, wide open for like a very long.
Oh my God, dude!
And Fields takes
it was crazy.
Forever to get to it.
Yeah, and it's not like he and that the craziest part though, Ryan. That's his first read.
Yeah.
It's not like it's his third read and he's coming 1 to 2 to 3 and he can't get there in time and he misses that window is open. That's his first read. It's crazy. I think I put it on Twitter. I'm going to look. If so, I'll share it.
It is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. If you have it, I can pull it up on our other slide. I'm going to jump over to Jake real quick. Jake says, I refuse to watch this week and ruin my weekend that early on a Sunday. Sounds like I made a good choice. This is a mess. Might need to fire them all. Oh, sorry. He's saying he refused to watch the early game. You didn't miss much, like at all. I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, this is like really, really boring. There's not really like anything good to talk about. The defense, played better than they have. We got a turnover. It probably helps that the Broncos were coming from, Mountain Time all the way to London, where the Jets were just going from East Coast time, a little 2-hour time difference. But like, I don't see this team winning many games with this kind of effort. Like they can't keep trotting Tyrod or keep trotting Fields out week over week if this is the performance we're getting.
Yeah, it's awful. I don't have that one play, the out to Garrett, but I got this one. Can I share this? Am I able to share screen?
Give me 1 second. Share the screen, and then I'll be able to pull it up. Let's see.
Oh, wait, no. Share this one. Boom.
All right. Let's see if you could zoom in a little bit. I've got your whole like sort of Twitter sphere on here.
Oh, too much.
All right. Let's see.
There, how's that?
All right. You're good. Everyone can see you. They won't be able to see your mouse, but
no, but they won't be able to see my mouse. But this is early in the game, 3rd and 5. This ended up in a sack.
Yep.
Look at this. Look, he's looking, and the guy, you can't see my mouse, but the receiver at the top with no one within 6 yards of him, that's Mason Taylor. And this is Isaiah Davis. Now, there's a guy lurking behind Isaiah Davis, but a good throw can still get there and get across the sticks. This ended up in a sack and 3rd down. What are we doing? Look at the protection. There's a pocket there. What are we doing?
It's amateur hour.
What the fuck are we doing?
It makes absolutely no sense what Justin Fields is looking at. Like, do you think they told him like, hey, just don't turn the ball over? Like, it's better to take a sack than it is to turn the ball over. Like at some point you got to try and make a damn play.
I got another one here. Hang on. Can we see this?
Yep.
All right. This is going to be, so I'm going to see if I can pause this. All right. Right here. Arian Smith. He's circled. You guys see him? Yep. Watch him the whole time. Okay. Again, another third down. This is in the fourth quarter.
He doesn't even look at him.
He doesn't even get there. Now, look, forget the fact that he's wide ass open, right? Forget the fact that he's wide ass open. But you have, if you want to get fancy, you can probably lead this guy right here to the corner, and he's across the sticks. If you fire one, if you just get yourself planted and throw the ball, he hits the check down, and you got to end up having a punt. I don't get it. He doesn't get past that first initial read. Wide ass open. Wide ass open. There's tons of these guys. There's tons of this stuff littered throughout the freaking, throughout the film. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy.
It is bonkers to me that he just can't seem to get any kind of traction with like, oh, this read that. Like, I would have thought they'd roll him out a little bit and at least give him tiers of reads. Like, okay, hey, look, Garrett Wilson's not available deep, or Arian Smith's not available deep. Okay, let's hit the shallow cross in Mason Taylor. Oh, he's not there. Okay, safety valve to Brees. Like that's the progression I feel like he could do without needing to like go all over the place. Now, it's probably easily defendable if you keep doing that over and over again, but even still, help.
There's been two passes that have exceeded 20 yards in airtime and travel over the past two games.
Wow.
Right? So don't get at me in the comments. I know some of the Justin Fields truthers here like, oh, he didn't throw an interception. Well, it's hard to intercept the friggin' two, like those 3-yard dink and dunk stuff, man.
I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen any Justin Fields truthers the way I saw like, Zach Wilson truthers and Sam Darnold truthers and like all that sort of stuff. Like, it just never, I don't know if we've seen.
No, there's plenty of Justin Fields truthers.
Yeah. I know there's plenty. I feel like you get more of them from like the Bears than you do from like the Jet fan community. Boogie Down says, Glenn ain't going nowhere. Woody not eating $50 million. We talked about this last week, I believe. 5-year contract for Aaron Glenn. Would Woody pull the trigger and dump the ship? And I don't think he will. Although I'll admit, it's definitely feeling more possible than it did last week because of how this game sort of turned out. I feel like embarrassing Woody in front of his London friends is helpful in that regard. I do think we're probably more likely to see another year out of Glenn, or at least like a good chunk of the year. Like if we played horrible this rest of this year, we continue to see the coaching blunders, and then it happens into next year, then I think they could pull the plug on him.
I was having the same conversation with guys on in a Twitter space this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to think, unfortunately, that I agree with Boogie Down here. I don't think that Glenn's going anywhere. And I think that, listen, look at the way this whole thing came about, right? Look at the way the whole thing came about. Do you think, honestly, after when it was all said and done, with all the interviews that we did, that there was anybody that was ever really in the running outside of Aaron Glenn? I don't.
I feel like Brian Flores probably was. I think Flores would have been an attractive option in the sense that like he's been a head coach.
He would have been attractive, but do you think he was a realistic option? I don't. Not with a lawsuit overhanging against the NFL and some of the teams. I mean, he's not going to get a job until that's settled. So, you brought in the guy from fucking University of Maryland, right? You brought in Halfley, the defensive coordinator from the Packers. You brought, there was no real push. I think it was Aaron Glenn the whole time. And I'm sure that Aaron Glenn and Woody had a discussion saying, listen, this ain't a 1-year turnaround thing, Woody. We got to get, I got to get all Joe's guys and Joe and Robert Sala's guys out of here and bring in my own guys before we can really build this thing the right way, in his own Aaron Glenn talk, rah.
Sure.
Woody gave almost two times the salary he did to Robert Saleh.
That's
almost
crazy.
2 times the salary to Robert Saleh. There's no way I see him firing him after 1 year.
I think it's
and then
also
it brings
just
to
like
the point.
Like, who would you even get is really like the biggest
it brings
part.
to the point. You're right about that, but it brings to the point, like, if you don't fire him, are we just setting up for the same thing that, is happening to Cam Ward? It's the same thing that happened to Trevor Lawrence, the same thing that happened to Caleb Williams, where, a coach drafts a rookie quarterback and then is fired either mid-season or the first season left. Are we setting that up? It's just like, it's a constant downward flowing cycle of shit, man.
And that's kind of what we did with Sam Darnold too. Remember, we drafted him under Todd Bowles, fired him after, Sam's rookie year, brought in Adam Gase. I'm not entirely like against that mindset. I feel like that's what was done with Daniel Jones too. Like, Daniel Jones had the 1 year prior to Daboll, then Daboll comes in, they try to fix him, it didn't work, and then you like have a little bit more sort of time. Like, in my mind, I think you gotta keep Glenn. I don't know how you trust this regime to make the pick at quarterback unless you like Tanner Engstrand enough, which I happen to do. And I think if you were to pull the plug on someone like Aaron Glenn, I feel like Tanner Engstrand would be that, like, hey, here's your 8-game sample size of next year or something along those lines, or whenever it winds up happening. But for me, I guess you just brought it up, right? Like, do you make the selection at quarterback? It feels like we kind of have to, because we're going to be in such a prime spot. But do you risk doing the Cam Ward thing, and now they've moved off Brian Callahan, and now you're getting an interim head coach for the rest of this year? How much development is honestly going on, during this year while someone else is trying to figure it out? Is there a coach out there that's going to want to actually take on this Jets team in the state that it is? Like, it's almost, what was it, David Culley from Houston?
Yeah.
Like Glenn almost feels like he's in this like purgatory of, okay, I got to reset for 2 years. And then it's either you show that you can win prior to maybe the team being fully ready so you can retain your job, or you get the team to a point of like, okay, now they're ready to be attractive for the next head coaching option and your ass is out the door. Like, that's kind of how I view Glenn right now, which sucks because, like, obviously him being a former Jet, I want this to work out. The coaching blunders are just absolutely awful, though.
Horrendous. Listen, the game management stuff is bad. The perception and the bravado to the media is bad. This is a day and age of social media and stuff like this where we get most of our information from the internet, right? And the beat writers, when's the last time you purchased, the New York Daily News to read Antoine's articles, or you went and you purchased, you watched you tuned into Connor Hughes on SNY. No, you go to fucking Twitter, or you go to whatever internet source, and you get that stuff real time. Like, the media, I mean, the beat writers are getting, they're voicing their opinions and displeasure, and they're feeding into the fans who are pissed off, and the fans are feeding back to the media that we're pissed off. I mean, it's a shitstorm, dude. It's never been so bad. I really don't think so.
Cuddy brings up a point. These quarterbacks coming out ain't no bona fide winners. We got to see 2 games that were sort of highlighted most this weekend. It was Indiana versus Oregon with Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, and then the LSU versus South Carolina game where it's Sellers and Nussmeier. And I'll be honest, I sort of fall in line with Cuddy. Like, I don't think anyone necessarily really impressed. I thought Mendoza and Nussmeier, I thought, looked the better of like the 4. Not that there was anything really against Dante Moore. I just felt like he wasn't maybe asked to do as much because his playmakers seemed to make better plays consistently. How did you view the quarterbacks that played this past weekend, and in particular those 4 from those 2 games?
Listen, I like I like Mendoza a whole bunch. I've liked Mendoza a whole bunch. Well before he became the popular name. I think Nussmeier has a chance to be pretty good. I don't know if I'm, and again, I happen to be one of the bigger or more prevalent Fernando Mendoza supporters, and I don't know if I'm, comfortable handing the keys over to him.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it. I mean, Cam Ward, wasn't my favorite quarterback last year, but he was a lot of people's favorite quarterback, and he was, systemically the hands down, 1-1 pick. You know what I mean? There was no doubt that he was the best quarterback, and this, that, and the other thing, and blah blah blah. And he struggled. He's struggling, right? So rookie quarterbacks don't always come in and step on the gas full throttle. Like, we might have gotten a little spoiled with Jaden Daniels having a really, really good rookie year, where the other two guys in the class kind of slow rolled it before they turned it on. Drake May's playing great now. Caleb looks like he's turning it on now as well. So I per se am not one that is, comfortable turning the keys over to any rookie quarterback. But to say they're not bona fide winners, I don't know. What classifies you as a bona fide winner? JJ McCarthy was a bona fide winner. The guy didn't lose a fucking game in high school or college.
Mm-hmm.
And he's okay. When he's on the field, he hasn't really been on the field all that much. So hard to say. Like, I don't know, man. I just think it's rookie quarterbacks. Josh Allen, best quarterback in the league right now. He wasn't a bona fide winner as a rookie. He stunk. So it's really not so much about the talent of these guys. It's about how you're going to develop them, right?
Sure.
And we have no idea how Aaron Glenn's going to develop, and his staff is going to develop a quarterback because they never had it. First time head coach, first time OC, right? I don't even know who the quarterback's coach is. I maybe I should, but I don't. I'm more concerned about who's going to develop the quarterback more than I am is, can this guy come in and be the savior? Because if you're looking for a savior, forget it. First off, the Jets are not one quarterback away. So maybe the answer is, hey, listen, let's take the best player available. And take shots at quarterback later. Take shots at quarterback in the in the second and the fourth round, and in the sixth round. Take a couple different shots.
So I guess I want to go to that. Jets obviously have the number 1 pick right now. Jake is saying, I was Mendoza preseason. Dom, is he the best? That's kind of where your head's at.
It depends what you like, Jake. Like I said, I happen to be kind of neck and neck going into this year with 𝐀𝐟𝐟𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐚 and Fernando Mendoza. I thought they both had something in them. That was it. Now, 𝐀𝐟𝐿𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐚 completely fell off the face of the earth, kind of shit the bed early in the year, but he's had 2 really, really good games these past 2 weeks. And Fernando Mendoza has just done everything that you want him, you've asked him to do. I actually think that he would be a phenomenal fit in a Tanner Engstrand offense if Tanner Engstrand was still here. But he that those West Coast principles, that those horizontal crossing patterns kind of fit his forte, fit his skill set very, very well. Mendoza's hands down, like leaps and bounds, the smartest, highest IQ quarterback that you have. So that the floor is going to be pretty high, right? The ability to process what's going on pre and post snap, the ability to get through his progressions, the ability to go 1 to 2 to 3, back to 1, and throw a dot. Like, sign me up, man. Sign me up. Is he as athletic and as mobile as Lenora Sellers? No. Does he have as big of an arm as Lenora Sellers? No. Does he have as much does he have as much pedigree? Was he born into the pedigree that Nussmeier is? No. Or Arch Manning is? No. But the guy can just play. And listen, if you get a high floor guy out of him, a guy who can turn into a
Jared Goff.
Good, a good comp. I was thinking more like, Matt Ryan, Carson Palmer.
Sure.
You know,
take either one of
all those guys.
Yeah.
I'll take any of those guys. Like Those are all Matt Ryan, maybe the exception. Maybe Matt Ryan's a little better than Palmer or Goff. But you talk about quintessential super high floor guys that you can win with. Carson Palmer, Jared Goff, or that it or it, you know. Now,
I mean, that just feels like what the pick needs to be. Like if the Jets wind up with 1-1, I feel like it just sort of has to be that type of player. Like as much as Lenore Sellers, I think is the best athlete of the bunch, and like if you had someone that could develop a quarterback, he could be that like special type of player.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll say this about Sellers too. The escapability is at a phenomenally elite level.
Freakish.
Like it is hard to get him down the way he can move and evade back there. But man, you know, you talk about, we watch Justin Fields now be a one read quarterback. I mean, I've watched Sellers do it for 2 years now.
That's the part that scares me.
Yeah.
Like give me the guy that can read all over the field and can do like, you know, the things we need right. I've seen way too much Zach Wilson. I've seen way too much Justin Fields to really want to go down the athletically gifted route and just give me like, I don't want to say boring, but like does the stuff you expect them to do right. And that sort of feels like what Mendoza is. You know, I'm sure there's going to be guys that sort of separate themselves as we go through this process. You mentioned like possibly going the route of a non-quarterback in the top of the draft. Would you be like a trade up at the back end of the first kind of a guy, a trade down from the top of the draft? Is there someone at
either
the first pick or top three?
Like, listen, if they're not, here's the thing. Like I said, you know, if they're not a quarterback away, this team is not a quarterback away. Remember, Ryan, we are replacing 29 expiring contracts next year. That's more than half of the contracts next year are gone. These guys are gonna have to replace, and it's not just, you know, the little, you know, backup, you know, third string, you know, players. You're talking a lot of guys on defense, right?
Well, like I'm kind of okay with the defense being dog shit for a little bit. Like if the offense has a nurturing environment to grow a quarterback, like to me, you keep Breece Hall. I think it's going to be really sad to see him go. You keep John Simpson. You got to figure out a guard. Guard can happen, whether it be free agency, mid rounds of the draft. I think that's doable. Outside of that, like you got Garrett Wilson. If you retain Breece Hall, if you got Mason Taylor back, you know, you're really only re-signing, you know, maybe, you know, a Jeremy Rucker as a backup.
Wait, hang on one second. One second. Let's rewind on what you just said, okay?
Sure.
So let's talk about the offense. We're talking about the offense only here.
Just the offense.
All right. Who's under contract? Justin Fields is under contract.
Yep.
Okay. Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis are under contract, right? Breece is not. So your starting running back is not. But can you get starting running back snaps from those two? You know, maybe some people argue yes, or, you know, I don't know if they're nearly as dynamic as Breece or a player such as Breece, but I digress. Not to start.
I'm team franchise Breece. You know, if you can sign him to
they're gonna trade his ass, dude.
I really hope that doesn't happen. It would really burn me up because I feel like from like a home run threat potential, like we're not going to replace it. Like Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis just are not home run threats the way that Breece is. And like you're gonna have $85 million. Who do you want to devote that money to? Like, I feel like I can see Breece in this offense, and I can see if Fields doesn't suck, that he's going to do really well in this offense. We've seen him play really well in the past. And then if I'm going into free agency, like, okay, now I'm going to spend money on a running back that's going to be lesser than Breece. You're going to spend less money, obviously. You're going to try and bring in free agents. Now, of the free agents out there, is there anyone that's really like screaming at you as like, we must have this guy and we must now overpay to get that player? Like, to me, we're going through franchise, like free agencies day 2 or tier 2, tier 3 free agencies and our draft picks. Like, that's how we're building this team. We're not getting like top tier talent unless we're trading for guys that are like, you know, giving up draft picks and stuff like that. And that I don't particularly want to do that right now either.
So to your question, if they trade Breece, you can tell that they're not going to spend money in free agency on running backs. It's probably they're of the belief that you draft a guy, you let him play his contract through, and you move on, and you draft his replacement. You know, so and that's the mindset of a lot of NFL teams. You know what I mean? The special ones really earn a second contract, right? and I think the bottom, like that break, that tier break and special is probably like James Cook, and he got a second contract. I don't think Brees is the player that James Cook is. I don't.
I think he can be. I feel like the 2 years of Hackett and the 1 year of Fields has really put a wet blanket on this offense overall, and it's challenging to kind of decipher who these players are. Now, look, if they move off of Brees, I get it. I don't think it's me, because I feel like when I'm looking at $85 million in salary cap space next year, I can say, all right, can I?
Let's continue with this.
Well, even just through the mindset of like, is let's call it a franchise tag of $14 million. If you have a $14 million contract, you're talking $71 million. Do you think you could plug the holes with $71 million outside of Brees Hall? Like, is his contract impeding you from signing someone that's going to be a difference maker? That's where I'm at with Brees. And I feel like Brees is a difference maker when he has the ball in his hands, and you just like.
His contract will impede you if. His contract won't impede you. That $14 million franchise tag will not impede you if you plan on bringing Justin Fields back to be your starter or on the roster, bridge, whatever you want to call it, before you hand the ring off. If you want to move on from Justin Fields, that's $24 million. You tie that in with the 30-something that you have from Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I don't think you're moving off of Justin Fields. I think he's here for next year. I think you're just like, you're
Why?
taking your lumps. We've got $43 million in dead cap next year to go along with the $73 dead million this year. I feel like you just have him as like a backup quarterback. Like, why would you eat additional money when you've already had to shell it out?
You will, because you pay him his guaranteed contract next year, right? You pay him his money, whatever he's owed.
Yeah.
He then has 2 void years, right? Yeah. You can look it up. He then has 2 void years after that. So getting rid of him next year will actually net you $1 million extra. So pull that up. I can't see it. It's too small.
So let me see if I can zoom in a little.
There we go. There we go.
So look, if you
so the 22 million,
that's
next year, right? $23 million cap number?
Because he's got $23 million cap number. Because he's got
$23 million cap number.
He's getting $20 million in base salary. He's got $10 million of it guaranteed. I don't know what triggers the other $10 million, if it's playing time or not. But either way, you're going to eat these $3 million right here.
Sure. 3, 6, 9, 12.
Those
$12 million.
Or I guess these 12 right here, plus the 20 is what gets you to the
32. $32 million.
23.
Or 20. No,
I guess it'd be 30.
23.
Yeah, because they're counting.
It would be 32 if you moved on from it.
Yes.
Okay. But look how much money you save, right? You start saving money, right? Now,
but you only save
him,
$1 million. It's going to cost you more than $1 million to get it back.
But it's still $1 million, right? Because next year now, when he's off the roster, he's still going to cost you $6 million, and then the year after that, he's still going to cost you $3 million. So I'm just saying, listen.
It accelerates down. So like you could cut it and take your dead cap hits next year. Like if we're going to have $43 million in dead cap, maybe it does make sense to like move off of him after the 1 year.
I'm not suggesting that they will, but I can't imagine a 2-15 Aaron Rodgers led team is going to just say, hey, let's roll it back, especially the fact that, you have your left tackle, you have your right tackle, you have Joe Tippmann if he's going to be one of your guards or one of your centers. So you have to replace 2 starting tackles, right? Or two starting offensive linemen, interior offensive linemen,
one
way or another.
Both are gone, or like
regardless. Right now they're not under contract, right?
Okay.
So you're going to have to replace 2 interior. You then have to replace every single one of your backup offensive linemen except for Esapola is the only one under contract.
That doesn't bother me so much though. Like.
Let's keep this going though.
Like I get you're gonna have to replace like the depth pieces, but like there's a lot of depth guys across the league until you can start building out, the draft picks and build your pipeline and whatnot. We also got 10 draft picks.
How many of those are on day 1 and day 2? 2.
Yes. But how many depth pieces are you expecting to start day 1 and day 2? Like probably not. Like,
that's fair.
like even our 3rd round pick this year, AZ Thomas, he's not starting. Like,
Correct.
You're looking at your first 2 guys. So you're looking at drafting your quarterback and then probably either an edge rusher or wide receiver 2, depending on what happens in free agency and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I
have
feel
no
like the
tight ends
major
on the roster
positions
past. You have no tight ends on the roster past Mason Taylor next year. Not one.
again.
Not
Like,
one of the 4.
No, I get that, but again, that's not like a wildly expensive or a wildly high value draft pick target that's going to be needed. Like, you got your 1 in Mason Taylor, get your depth piece. Does Jeremy Ruckert want to come back for the vet minimum? Maybe he might want to hang around. I'm okay with that. I can live with a 1 extra year of Jeremy Ruckert while we kind of figure stuff out. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of positions sort of like that. Like, I think we are going to need a starting linebacker. I think we are going to need at least a starting safety. I think we are probably going to need a starting defensive tackle. Like, the defense, I think
We're gonna need an
shambles.
edge. We're gonna need an edge rusher.
We definitely need an edge rusher. But what I'm saying is, I
even
think
if
the
you go
defense
into
is going to
next
be a
year-
little bit more in shambles than the offense.
Even if you go into next year with Will McDonald and JJ
Mhm.
as your 2 starters, they're both on their last year of their contract,
Mhm.
and there's no depth behind them.
Mhm.
McGregor, I think he has 1 more year. He was undrafted, so that gives him 3 years.
Mhm.
But what is he? Barron? All right, that's fine.
Mhm.
But we see what happened when you run with McGregor and Barron as your depth this year.
Mhm.
It's been pretty rough. So
Sure.
you got to draft. You got to draft edge rushers. You got to have guys that not only can play right away, but will be there to step up and be the starters when JJ and or Will McDonald are gone. Right? You're gonna need Harrison Phillips is back under contract if I'm not mistaken. Q is under contract, although I fully expect him to hold out.
I would be okay with Quinnen being traded. Like, I guess my thought process for 26 is I want the most nurturing environment for a quarterback on the offensive side. If we have to Joe Burrow it, where it's like not the O-line, like the O-line's set for us, but if you have to like have a dog water defense, I'm okay with that. I really am. Like, quarterback, if you figure it out, can last well beyond the amount of time needed to build up a defense.
So a
and attract
dog
talent.
water defense. What is that leading you to next year, Ryan? What is that leading you to?
It could be a
From
high
2
draft
wins
pick.
to 5 wins?
That's all right. I'm okay with that. I think this team needs to have multiple high picks after they figure out the quarterback as well. Now, hopefully there's, some wins that come because of it, but like, I'm okay losing games because our defense sucks and our offense looks good.
If you go 2 wins to 5 wins with a dog water defense,
Yep.
from a defensive minded head coach, the head coach is gone after year 2.
That's
you might
okay.
as well but then you're stunting the growth of your rookie quarterback. You're doing exactly what Jacksonville and Chicago and now Tennessee did. At that point, like, cut it off, man. Just cut your losses if that's the case with Glenn. And bring in the guys that you want to nurture this offense.
I don't care if that's like the route. I'm just telling you, I'd rather build up the offense and get the quarterback looking right than be like, okay, I'm going to pass on the quarterback at the top of the draft and then have to go about like, trying to figure out, oh, maybe we can somehow find one later in the first round. In the second round, hopefully we hit gold. I don't know.
Listen, I'm totally fine with that. If you're not sold on Nussmeier or Sellers or Mendoza as your guy with the first, if you're picking top 3, and if you're not sold with one of those guys in the top 3, take the best player. You have so many other spots. Take an edge, take a wide receiver, trade up into the first round, later in the first round, or sit in the second round and get a quarterback. Because there's going to be plenty of those guys too. I don't think you have to force it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you have to force the quarterback in the beginning of round 1. If it's not your guy, because the Jets are so many pieces away. They're not just a quarterback away.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I do agree with that. I think that I do want to take the quarterback in the first round. I would be more of the mindset of trading down as far as we can to get as many picks to recoup that and still take a quarterback. I do think that you have to prioritize like drafting on defense and like focus it. Like, I want to focus on the offense for next year. Like 2026 for me, use your second round pick on either wide receiver 2 or edge rusher. Because I agree. I think edge rusher is a massive need. If you have to trade, other players. Like if it's, maybe it is a JJ, maybe it is a Will McDonald, maybe it is a Quinn and someone like that to recoup other picks to help rebuild it. I'm kind of okay with that. I would like to retain Jermaine, if I'm being honest. I think Will McDonald provides probably a little bit more value to another team. Not that I dislike him at all, but it just feels like we're not going to have enough if we want to turn it around quick enough. And maybe that's what Muji and Glenn are going to have to operate on as far as their timing goes. I want to throw up Hunter's comment before I lose you, Dom. Watching G5's postgame hurt my head. G5 and JJ are two high character guys that we need to keep from the JD era. They understand the hurt just like us. I mean, I don't think either one of those guys should really be going anywhere. And if JJ shows he's worth his salt by the end of this season, like, he's fully back healthy and everything, I would fully endorse us re-signing him, on a longer term extension. Right. Or if you want,
listen, JJ is hands down my favorite player. JJ and Brees have been my since that draft class. They've been my two guys, right? Let's call it what it is with JJ, right? Phenomenal energy, does something to the defense for sure. Don't know if he's ever going to be a double digit 12, 13, 14 sack guy. That's just not his game. But that's fine. That doesn't negate his importance on the team. By the time his 5th-year option's done, it's going to be 28. What are you doing? Maybe you give him a franchise tag for 1 year and then you let him go. Are you really signing him long term? You're going to pay $25-30 million for a 28, 29-year-old going into year 30 who's already got an Achilles on him? Calling it as it is. You know what I mean? Love JJ.
Sure. Well, JJ's what? He's 26 right now. I don't know when his actual birthday is. If he turns 27 during the season, they have it listed as his 27th season as next year. But if he's 26 this year, he plays the entirety of the season. He's looking good by the end of it. You feel comfortable with him. Okay, you re-sign him. You've restructured year 27 years old. So, like, you have his 27-year-old season, his 28-year-old season, probably his 29-year-old season. Like, how many contracts really go beyond a guaranteed 3 years? It's probably not much. So, like, there could be dead cap beyond that.
2 years, 3 years, something like that, yeah.
JJ till 29 and then reassess in 2 years, whatever, 3 years down the line, I'm okay with. I don't know. I think those are definitely the two guys you hold on to. I'm sure we're going to start hearing about the Sauce stuff if we think he might be able to garner a good chunk of money.
It's impossible. You can't get out of it. You can't get out of it next year. Sauce is going to be on this team. Sauce is going to be on the team.
People are going to be talking
and
about
I'm not saying he shouldn't. I am not one of the anti-Sauce guys. I actually think Sauce gets a lot of undue hate because people are clear or quick to point out all the plays that he gets flagged for, so on and so forth. But there's so many more plays that happen throughout the games that go unnoticed because what he's doing. So I am not a hater of Sauce Gardner. But nonetheless, however I feel about him, you're not getting out of his contract next year. You're just not doing it.
So his contract is interesting because I don't think certain things hit us immediately. Like he's got a $30 million option bonus on March 17th of next year.
Okay.
So I guess in theory, if you wanted to move him at the start of the league year, I think you could without impacting your cap too much. Like you would be eating the already existing signing bonus, which would end up being about $8 million, $9 million.
For how long?
So the existing signing bonus was an $8 million this year, and then it's prorated at two. Actually, here, I'll just pull it up. Let me show you what I'm looking at here, and then we'll get to. Let me throw Jake's comment up here real quick. We could have just done Milrow, no to Sellers, says Jake.
Yeah, Sellers is listen. Sellers was better than Milrow. At least he's graded out better than Milrow for me, and I happen to like Milrow a little bit. But yeah, I mean. People want to say Anthony Richardson is a good comp for Sellers. I don't think so at all. I actually think Justin Fields is a good comp for Sellers. And I just I cannot justify getting on board with that right now.
So here's Sauce's contract right now. So his dead cap, people are going to be looking at that $36.5 million next year. But I want you to look at So 2026 year, his 2027 salary becomes guaranteed on the 17th. And then I think that's when this kicks in, this option column. So that 4 million, 6 million, 6 million, 6 million, 6 million, 2 million, that's the $30 million you see down here. I don't think that becomes a thing that impedes us from trading him until it gets triggered. Once that option gets triggered, I think the only things prior to that would be this 2.75, 2.75, 2.75, which is about $9 or $10 million. Yeah, it's a little over $10 million, right? 10.5 million.
But hit that little thing in 2026, Ryan. That little notebook thing. What does it say?
It says 2027 salary becomes guaranteed on March 17th. So I think that's when.
So I have a feeling that. No. That would be the guaranteed money. Oh, that's a workout bonus. I'm sorry.
No, it'll say here. His 2027 salary becomes guaranteed, which would be the 14 million.
Gotcha.
And then in 2028 on March 17, or sorry, in 2027, March 17th, his 2028 salary becomes guaranteed. So it steps up. It's almost similar to like the Rodgers contract, how it was like a little goofy. Like whenever this signing bonus or option bonus gets triggered, which I feel like is probably after like this March 17th deadline, and then it'll get prorated over the course, and then it'll get prorated over the course of like the remaining years of the contract. And that's when it starts becoming a lot of dead cap. 4-year extension in new money with $40.5 million fully guaranteed at signing.
Hang on one second. I just pulled it up, Rye. I just pulled it up on Jason from OTC.
Yeah, what did he say?
All right. The number. Yeah, you want to read it verbatim?
Sure.
The numbers are in for Sauce Gardner's $120.4 million contract extension, and it's an interesting contract, one that falls in the category of being a market setter without really setting any market. Mm-hmm. The structure of the contract is pretty team-friendly and creates some solid leverage points for the Jets throughout the life of the contract. Let's break things down. Prior to the Gardner signing, top market, blah, blah, blah. Stingley's contract was massive leap. J.C. Horn, blah, blah, blah. None of that matters. From the looks of things, the Jets found a way to surpass Stingley's APY while staying below Stingley in the most likely to be earned years of the contract. Gardner's raise over the next 2 years is much closer to Horn than Stingley's. The Jets, who also did big contract extension for Garrett Wilson, likely point out they were a bit cash poor following their spending in recent years. This has been a typical Jets pattern under the current ownership and may play a factor here, blah, blah, blah. You look at years 1 and 2 of the contract. The Jets basically split the difference between the two contracts. Gardner will fall right in between contract 1 and contract 2. The guarantee structure of the contracts does not favor Gardner as a market leader. $40.5 million in full guarantees is actually 7th in the NFL. There are some minor things with this contract that favor the Jets. Gardner took $750,000 per year in per game bonuses and $250,000 in workout bonuses. Mm-hmm. This $1 million.
So that's what I'm saying. That option bonus, I'm sure, is fully guaranteed.
Wait, hang on one second. Here it is. I'm trying to skim through this real quick.
Yeah.
These bonuses from 26 to 28 are also part of his quote guarantee package.
Yep.
This devalues the contract since Gardner must be healthy and attend a workout to earn these salaries. The structure of the contract is interesting to me. The Jets use 2 balloon payments at the end of the contract of $30.1 million per season. Prior to those years, the Jets will never pay Gardner more than $25 million in any given year. Those numbers seem to indicate the Jets look at those 2 seasons as potential outs in the contract. If the Jets exercise both options, the cost to cut in 2029 would be $16.8 million, a savings of about $22 million over his in cap over his 38 million. Second interesting thing, these salaries are so high that it should prevent Gardner from holding out to seek a new contract.
I think I'm right. I'm pretty positive I'm right looking at this. Like once the Jets exercise that option in 26, then it becomes challenging to trade him because now you have a massive dead cap because that $30 million gets added to that 2.75 each year. Until that's exercised, I mean, it's just silly because it's not something that whoever holds this contract is going to want to exercise that option. Like that is a favorable contract really for Sauce and for the team, kind of, because he's going to be able to cash in, another time later on. It's almost like a emergency hatch currently,
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know. But
Yeah. Well,
anyhow,
there we have it. Dom, you want to say anything else?
Yes. Long, if you guys are into the draft already. Some people are, some people aren't. I don't judge you if you're not. Long form scouting reports of mine will all be posted this year and hopefully for years going forward on Jet X Factor. I'm part of the content team there. I have some out there. I have some more coming through this week. You'll see one on Lenore Sellers. You'll see one on Drew Allar, who unfortunately will be missing the rest of the year with a shattered ankle. So I digress for Drew Allar, but all my draft content will be out there. Always happy to be here on Monday talking, commiserating the Jets with Ryan. I will not be here next week as I have to have some surgery done on my arm. But I'm sure Tigo will hold it down if he comes by, or Ryan will hold it down solo. And I guarantee a win next week because I'm not going to be here.
I'll be honest, I don't know if I necessarily want to see a win. I think
some people don't.
0-17
Some people
at this
don't.
Point. This team just pisses me off. Dom, it's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Rest up. Hope your surgery goes well, and we'll talk when you get back.
Say, bud.
Boom!
You're out of here!
Ejected from the cockpit. Dom's gone. Love Dom C. He's a good guy. He's good people. All right. I'll talk a little bit to the chat, and we'll get into some stuff. I see Michael here says, guys, if Fields gets cut post June 1st, they save $10 million. He will be gone. That's right. They can designate him a June 1st cut. Let me just pull up how that shakes out. You wind up splitting it across 2 years, which I'm not necessarily sure is like ideal either way. Like you may want to take all your lumps in the 1 year, but let's see, 2026. We're going to take Justin Fields. We're going to do a little post June 1. Yeah, so you save $10 million. Oh, and I guess since it's guaranteed, you eat the $10 million current year? Usually passes into the next year, but it doesn't seem to be doing that when I click this. So maybe that's what they end up doing. Maybe I'm missing something, and I don't know why it's not splitting evenly. I guess they had $10 million on the books for the following year anyway, like in dead cap, so maybe that's where that sort of comes into play. Boys and girls, before we get too far, I do want to acknowledge, sponsor of the channel, Sleeper. You think you know football, then try your turn. You think you know football, then try to turn that football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code JETSTALK, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. You can also use the code in the description down below and get a $20 entry with no deposit at all if you want to do that. Last night, let's see, what did I do? I didn't even look at the stat lines. Let's see the box score. Chiefs and what was it? Lions. What did we get out of this? Patrick Mahomes hit the touchdown over. We've got Xavier Worthy coming in. Not enough yards. I had 58.5 yards. He did not get that. He got 20 yards. Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions. Did we get a sack? Come on, Aiden. Yes, we got a sack for him. And Gibbs, did he get a touchdown? Negative. All right, so Ryan did not do so good on the picks this week. It is what it is. Hey, if I had done the Jets game, I would have said Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall on the, I probably would have gone on the less than, I guess, for this particular week. I had to use both those guys and Fields in my damn fantasy league this week. I'm in a year-long fantasy that you have to use three. You have three teams. I've got the Jets, I've got the Raiders, and I've got the Texans. Unfortunately, the Texans were on a bye, so the players I had to pick from were either the Raiders or the Jets. And I figured the Jets would be losing, so we're gonna have to, make up some yardage, get some fantasy garbage time points. Guess what? That didn't work out. My team is cooked for this week. Not great. Not great. I'm gonna go through the comments. We're gonna talk a little ball in the chat. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. RB says, who are we getting that's better than Sauce? We are nuts. Won't know what we've got till it's gone. Yeah, I don't want to trade Sauce at all. It's not. I don't want us to trade Sauce. I don't want us to trade Garrett. I don't want us to trade JJ. I don't want us to trade Breece. I would be open to Will McDonald because of the style in which we play him. Would kind of depend on return. Quinnen, I feel like, unfortunately, our timeline for turning this thing around might exceed his prime, and it might be worth trying to move him while he's still got a lot of value and he's going to be looking for more money now anyway. Quincy, more than likely, probably not coming back on next year, so it's one of those situations where both brothers are kind of out at the same time. We're going to go through a rough stretch here. But the same logic you're applying to Sauce is the same logic I applied to Breece Hall, where people are like, I want the third round pick. I want the third round pick. Well, yeah, I'm really excited to sign up for potentially another Malachi Corley or another Jabari Zuniga. Like, a third round pick is such a dart throw, and you kind of know what you got in Breece. Like, yeah, there's some frustration, but he looks like he's at least playing the part in this offense if Fields can get the ball and move the ball. Like, I feel like that, like, Breece's value could really be highlighted with a quarterback change to Tyrod and see how this could potentially how this offense could even develop. That was always the argument for like Ryan Fitzpatrick or Josh McCown or any of these guys. They come in and you're able to grade the rest of the roster. With Justin Fields back there, just like when Zach Wilson was back there, just like when any other quarterback, but dating back to what have we had, 15 in the last 10 years or something like that. Anytime you have lackluster play from the quarterback position, you can't really get a good feel for the rest of the roster. If you have at least baseline all right play, like a Fitz, like a McCown, like a Tyrod can provide, at least you can kind of grade some stuff out there. But I agree. I don't want to move Sauce because I don't think you're likely to find a player better than him. You're getting hopefully 2 draft picks that might net out to better win percentages overall than what Sauce is currently giving you, plus the salary component. So Sauce is essentially, if he's getting called $30 million a year, that's like 2 players of like $15 million a year, plus the 2 contracts that you're getting anyway, which I guess, technically that eats into some of those contracts. But either way, I do not want to move him. Mike says, what about Muji's draft record indicates that he'll even draft good players with all of these draft picks that fans want, I guess. Look, he's got 10 draft picks. A lot of them are late day 3 picks. 8 of them are on day 3. So I hope these picks are utilized to sign players similar to like Jawan Briggs, Phillips. I think these are all good moves to get guys that have multiple years on contracts that you've seen play in the NFL that can play at a good level. Like, that's sort of where I would like to utilize some of these picks. I think that creates a quicker turnaround. It's almost like drafting a defensive tackle in Jawan Briggs just a year later. You're getting him on a 3-year contract instead of a 4-year contract, but he's good in the NFL at least. So I feel like there's going to be enough players like that on teams that are changing head coaches, guys that, sort of become available that might be cut candidates, things like that. I think that's where you can kind of move and shake. I don't want to make all 8 picks in the late rounds unless they're just really looking for depth pieces. And I don't want to call them junk guys, but guys that you're not really expecting to play. Guys like a Tyler Barron that you don't necessarily want to see on the field. But you got to round out a roster. So as far as Muji's record, I would say Membu looks good. And I would say Mason Taylor both look good. Both those guys high. I like that he's hitting on the high picks, at least it seems like. I really like AZ Thomas. I think fans will come to really like that selection when it's all said and done. And then beyond that, I do think Arian Smith's actually playing better than a lot of us felt he would. Dom showed a play earlier tonight that had him, wide the hell open, and Fields just doesn't look his way, doesn't think to it all. And I think with better quarterback play, that might sort of highlight itself more. Justin Fields has the most time to throw the ball than any quarterback in the NFL. Fields ass licker. I mean, look, he's had so much time to throw the ball. There is a little bit of a nuance with that to some degree. I'd love to know how much of it is him scrambling, because I feel like him scrambling does skew the stat slightly, where the time to throw extends longer than it should because of how long he can extend the play. If it's like, pocket breakdown, I'd like to see, that. But yeah, he's been bad. It's not good. Who is seriously watching Jets football at this point? Pump of Wall Street. Not a lot of happy fans. I'll say that. I have not done as much content as I normally do throughout this part of the season because I am valuing my time in different ways. So I appreciate you guys valuing your time by hanging out here. I'm happy to talk ball with you guys, but man, it's definitely sad on Sundays. Last game, Fields did suck, but you need good receivers too. All Jets have is Garrett. You need a duo. He's always covered because he's the best on the team. You need someone else. Yeah, we absolutely need a wide receiver too. The issue is Fields isn't really looking off wide receiver 1 before he's running or taking a sack. So that's kind of been our problem. But I agree, we do need another player, and I think that's probably going to come by way of the draft. I think the second round for me is either wide receiver 2 or it's edge rusher, and then whichever position it's whichever position you don't address in free agency. Like if there's a wide receiver 2 out there in free agency, I'm cool with that. If there's an edge rusher that might be kicking around, I'm cool with that. Edge rusher, I just sort of prefer in the draft because of how valuable that particular position is. And I would go so far as to say, let's use some of these late round picks or even a future 2027 pick to move up to make sure that pick ends up being in the first round. So you get that extra year of eligibility too. I think that might make some sense. Mitt says, I knew the Jets were going to suck. If you thought the Jets were going to win more than 4 games this year, you got to look in the mirror, fam. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Jet fans are like super fired up because they were expecting, I guess, better things. Like if you asked me prior to this season, 5.5 wins felt like a really good number, which is what Vegas put us at. I had us at 6 wins. I thought the Jets would get that extra win against Buffalo, the final game of the season, hurt our draft stock, typical Jets sort of things. And it turns out I was even too optimistic. And I was on like the more pessimistic side of Jet fans. I don't think many people were, I think people outside of the Jets thought we could lose a lot more games. But yeah, 5.5 over under seems like a good line right now. Mike, so let me get this straight. Jet fans are watching a team potentially going 0-17 and want to trade Quinn and Sauce, Wilson, Hall, JJ, and let go of ABT. I don't think fans really want to see all those people go. I don't think Wilson's even in the conversation of that. JJ, I haven't seen in the conversation of that. ABT's probably gone anyway. Hall, Quinnen are probably the 2 most likely to potentially be moved. Sauce, I would be surprised, but I think fans are going to start talking about it at some point, especially if he's not creating turnovers. There's like a value there. I don't think Sauce is part of the problem. I think he can be part of the solution. We didn't even call Darnold this past offseason. We weren't going to. We drafted him. We let him walk. It just unfortunately, it would have never been in the cards. Feels like Saleh and LaFleur was the right coaches, but got screwed because of Zach. I agree. In hindsight, you hold on to Sam and give LaFleur the opportunity to work with Sam as opposed to drafting Zach Wilson. Now, I thought moving off of Sam was a fine move for the compensation we got. You know, it's not that I didn't like Sam. It just, unfortunately, the circumstances of it with the contract, we needed to make a decision on the 5th-year option. Just turns out we screwed up. We should have traded down from the Zach Wilson pick, and we should have kept Sam, and that would have been the play. And there was plenty of people that did want to do that. You know, I was not on that particular side. Old Brick on the Falcons making Josh Allen look silly. Shake my head. I'll be honest, I did not watch the Falcon game. Couldn't afford Darnold. No, I'm sure we could have. We gave $20 million per year to Fields. Yeah, look, hey, I think a lot of this season was about trying to keep some of the players happy, and I do think bringing in Fields maybe made certain players feel that way. Like if signing Fields for $20 million a year allowed us to keep Garrett Wilson long term and Sauce long term, I almost chalk that up to a win. Like, as screwy as that sounds. Chad says Tyrod will start after the bye. Fields is toast. Do we have 2 weeks? It's the Panther game, then the Bengal game, and then it's the bye. Is that where we're at right now? Jets schedule. I should know this by heart by now. Let's see. Yeah, Carolina, Cincinnati, bye week, and then November 9th versus the Browns. I agree. If we don't see him sooner, we may see him sooner than that. I love how we get to play Flacco next, too. Or not next, but 2 weeks from now. Andrew, how you doing in our pick'em pool, Ryan? I don't know. Probably not real good. I'll be honest. Let's see. How am I doing in pick'em? I'm tied for 13th right now. Boba Jet is in the lead with 61. I have 57. I got 10 right this past week. Last week hurt me. I only got 6 right last week. Boba Jet had a strong first 3 weeks. 13, 14, 12 wins each of those weeks. He's been sub 10 wins each of the last 3. Let's see. O'Leary is tied for 10th with 58. What else we got? Trying to see other names in here. I think Green Bean forgot to keep picking. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of guys tied it between like 57. I would say 56 and above has a lot of people in it. We'll see. I'm going to have to make my picks. It's not looking good. I've picked against the Jets every week. I think except maybe week 1, I may have taken the Jets versus Steelers. It's about as excited as I've gotten for our team. Glenn is not the answer. Should Glenn be one and done? 46% of you guys say yes. 31% say no. 23% said TBD. So it seems like there's at least a lot of people that would consider being one and done with Glenn. I don't know who you go with. That's my issue. If Glenn is not the answer, then who? M-Star, they should agree. They should. I agree. Went through so many quarterbacks. It isn't the issue. It's the O-line and better receivers. I mean, I think we definitely need receivers. I think the O-line's fine right now. Jake, only one to pick Falcons in my pick'em because Bijan is the best running back in the NFL and the Bills are ass at stop on the run. What's the score? Florida Jet fan, I'm done watching this week. They laughed at me. Hey, I don't blame anyone for turning it off. Andrew says we could all use some gummies. in reference to Nightbot throwing up the Jet Life THC gummies. Yeah, if you guys want to head over to Crescent Canna, you can click the link in the description or the one that Nightbot's got going right now. You get 30% off gummies with the code JetLife Gummies, and they're slamming. They have a few 100-milligram gummies that are really not that badly priced, and with 30% off, you get a pretty nice deal. So if you want to support the channel, head over there. Mike says, I've never seen so many players have career years for one coach. Now those same players have regressed under a new coach. Coincidence? No. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue, like, from where we were with Salah and Ulbrich to now. Like, it is pretty bad. Like, I think the offensive staff is what really crippled us, and I think it was really the whole Rodgers thing. Like, if we were able to hold on to LaFleur, and then you wind up, you know, you'd have to move off Zach. The only thing is you couldn't really move off of him. So it's like, are you bringing in Baker Mayfield, you know, that same year, which would have been the correct move, but it creates this weird, like, quarterback thing. Like, Rodgers was like the de facto, like, okay, this is the guy. Even though that was their move of like, hey, we're going to move off of Zach by signing Zach Wilson, or by signing Aaron Rodgers is not going to look as bad. I don't know. The players playing poorly sucks. And I don't know how we get out of it. Did Tony Adams not play yesterday? I'll be honest, I have no idea. Let me see. I do not know in the slightest, to be perfectly honest. I was paying attention, but not well enough. Game reports, defense. Tony Adams did not play. Our top-graded defensive guy was Jarvis Brownlee. Maui Goa was pretty high up there. Michael Clemens had himself a nice day. Essentially caused a safety with the hold on him. Sauce had a nice day. Tufele, Malachi Moore, Cisco, Will McDonald. Everyone else much lower. Much lower. Pump of Wall Street. Jet fans fail to realize we won't get a good coach until Woody is gone. Glenn is a downgrade from Salah and was sus in Detroit. Their D was never good. So I agree with Woody being here. It's going to be hard to attract top coaching talent. I think Woody's probably just got a bad name across the league. What I will say is, generally speaking, Woody has given more time to coaches than other teams have. So I will say that much. There has been a propensity for Woody to spend money on free agents and outside guys. Like, the money side of things hasn't necessarily been an issue, other than like the cash flow, like how much bonuses and signing bonuses and stuff you can get in 1 year. We kind of brought that up with the Sauce contract. But I think us firing Glenn after 1 year would look worse for us trying to get another head coach in here. And I don't know who that guy is. Like, Glenn wants to be here. You have to be a good enough coach first off. Like, I want to be head coach of the New York Jets. That doesn't mean I'm going to be a good head coach of the New York Jets. I agree. Glenn's defenses were sus in Detroit. I think especially the final two games of their season last year, it was Minnesota and whatever their playoff game was. They did not look good. Now, I think you're bringing Glenn in to be more of a CEO-style head coach. I thought his post-game presser yesterday was absolutely awful, absolutely terrible, and it just made a mockery of like, oh, I saw some improvements. Really? Like, 2 penalties, that's the improvement. Like, I don't know. That's not really what I'm, like, going crazy over. Everything else looked like a fucking downgrade to me. Defense was, like, okay. But, man, that was rough. That was hard to watch. So yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know who we get. What's the next option? Ablab, what's good, dude? Says, we have to give Glenn a season. We sucked this long, might as well wait. Salah picked a zone secondary, which covers for less speed / instinctual players. So I do think that there's a lag in when things start turning around. So year one, Salah and Ulbrich, our defense was not very good. It was pretty bad, and it took time to get the correct players in. And I think that's something you would see with another year of this regime. I think it's unlikely that Glenn gets let go after 1 year. I think it's probably a good move not to do it. If you want to let him go halfway through next year and Engstrand takes over, or maybe Wilkes is the interim head coach while Engstrand kind of works with whoever our quarterback is next year, like, I could live with that. And then you sort of gauge, like, okay, how is the quarterback done? Is that something Engstrand can do? He's had a bunch of coaching opportunities at the collegiate level. Is this something that he could take on? Or is there another coach out there that wants the quarterback that we drafted? Like, that's the other piece of this puzzle, is like, are you going to find yourself in a position to draft a quarterback in the future, or do you take the swing now? I'm of the opinion you take the swing in 2026, and if the defense sucks, so be it. I'm fine with getting high draft picks because our defense blows. If our offense can generate some excitement and like some wow factor, like a quarterback, if you hit on him, could be there for the next 10 to 15 years. And that's enough to help you recruit players year over year. Like the Patriots, people are going to be looking at Drake May and they're going to be saying, okay, I want to go play with that guy. And that helps you fix your team. So if you think you got the right guy there, I think you go make the pick. And I think it makes everything else significantly easier. I agree with giving Glenn the season. I don't think I would fire him after the end of this year. I'd have to see how the rest of the games play out. Like if he has coaching blunders like he did this past game and like pretty shitty answers, outside of that in the pressers, like, I don't know. If the team's not buying into him, you got to move off of him. But man, that sucks. I don't think we're going to get a good head coach. I think we're kind of in that David Culley sort of situation with the Houston Texans. Jake says, Ryan, I'm confident you could go 0-17 as head coach. Also, I'm confident I could at least perform at an 0-17 level. I can tell you right now, I would have had more passing yards than Justin Fields as offensive coordinator or head coach. Isn't that sad? Everyone in this chat had more passing yards than Justin Fields. Damn. Cameron says, after the season, we start over again and go with an offensive head coach. It's time to go modern NFL. Colin. I'm not going to do the call-ins tonight. I'm a little tired. I'll probably do this till, what are we at? Let's go to a full hour and a half. I'm at an hour and 22 minutes right now. So we'll do another 8 minutes of this. We'll talk some ball. Offensive-minded head coach. Look, if Cliff Kingsbury wants to come to New York in 2026 because we have the first pick or we have the opportunity to draft a quarterback that he really likes, I'm probably saying okay. Is Mike McCarthy a coach that's like wow enough to move in that direction? Like, I feel like Dallas was pretty good prior to McCarthy being there, but McCarthy got that team to like a perennial, what was it, 11, 12 wins like every year? I would take like mediocre. like give me, like, I don't know, maybe we don't win a playoff game for a while, but like if we could consistently be in the conversation and be in the playoffs, like that's fine. I didn't even realize the Bills were on tonight. That's what you guys were talking about. Bills, Falcons. Jesus. I'm watching friggin' Bears, Washington right now. Why am I doing that to myself? What channel is it ESPN? Nope, it's not ESPN. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, no, I am. It is ESPN. Got 6 minutes left in the game for the Bills. Hopefully they shit the bed. Nothing would make me happier. Ablab. He did a presser today. It was better. Fresh after a loss. I'm sure he's going to be raw, emotional Emotionally, as a first-time head coach, he covered his steps a bit today. I'll have to watch it. I honestly didn't watch his presser today. I was so frustrated with yesterday's presser and like the performance of the team that I sort of imprinted it on my feelings for today. But look, I feel like you can't really move off Glenn after a year because of where this team's going to still be and the type of talent the type of coach you would attract. Like, I'd rather the guy that wants to be here and wants to see it turn around, has been a part of a regime that needed to turn around in Detroit. You know, they sucked for a long time. Am I going to give him the benefit of the doubt? Not necessarily, but we have so much dead cap next year that it's kind of like a, I don't know. It's sort of like a holding year anyway. That's what, why am I blanking on the coach in Houston? DeMeco Ryans. He picked up a team after Culley kind of held down the fort after the Deshaun Watson stuff went down. Like, it's almost sort of like the Aaron Rodgers thing, and the like, in a similar vein, had to get purged from our system, and Glenn is sort of holding down the fort currently, unless he can wow some people prior to us needing to fire him. Right now, it's not looking great. Not looking great. I was on team keeping Glenn, but I'm going to lose support soon. I don't think it's his fault, but not handling this well, it has to improve. Yeah, I mean, look, by the end of the season, if, maybe we rattle off 3 or 4 wins, if penalties are down, if morale seems to be trending in the right direction, maybe that's okay. Look, Woody doesn't listen to us. My Jet brethren, he never did. Ryan, please take down the score. I got PTSD. I'll take it down. There you go. It's out of here. Chris says, if we get the number 1 pick and an experienced head coach like Gruden, Kingsbury, McCarthy shows interest, would you keep Glenn? I think Gruden's probably the one that Woody would actually do this for. Like, if Gruden showed interest and wanted to do it, this would be our Sean Payton type moment, I think. I like Kingsbury personally. He would have been my top option if he were interviewing this past year. I would say I don't know. I guess I'm lukewarm on McCarthy, but offensive minded is probably the direction to go. I'm so tired of seeing terrible offense year in and year out. Anthony saying he was a horrible coach. See Arizona. Yeah, but look at Washington. They're pretty good. Offensive side of the ball, that's really what I'm looking at. Pump of Wall Street. What are you doing?
That's it! You're out of here!
Get out of here! Got me and my PTSD of Adam Gase. I don't want to see it. Just give me 8 wins, says Jake. I got low expectations. That's our Jets. Dude, I went into the season. That's why I'm not hurt so badly. It's like I wasn't expecting much. Dave says, what's everyone's take on my 2 coworkers who claim they're Jets fans but also root for the Bills? They went as far as buying Bills merch, and one guy has a Jets tattoo. Okay, here's my take on this. I would not buy Bills merch outside of a gag. I do have 1 Bills, 1 Patriots, 1 Dolphins jersey that I bought off DHgate that's sitting in my closet. That's because I was going to plan to do skits and things like that where I played all 4 teams living within one house. That was the mindset. So that's why I have that. I'll be honest right off the bat. But I would not buy like actual Bills or any other team's merchandise as a Jet fan. Now, I can understand why someone may root for the Bills. They don't have a Super Bowl. They're kind of like that team that's been downtrodden forever. The Jets just give you no fucking hope. Josh Allen's a fun player to root for. Let's call a spade a spade. I do think that the Bills are good enough that they probably deserve a Super Bowl at some point or a trip to the Super Bowl. Now, I really like being able to say I don't they don't have a Super Bowl or they can't get over the hump to get into the Super Bowl. Like, that's all the stuff that makes me happy. But Josh Allen's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Flat out honest. He's a very fun player to watch. I can totally understand why people would root for him. Now, my hatred of our division stems from Tom Brady and the Patriots. Fuck the Patriots. I don't want to see them do anything good. And I hate the Dolphins. Like, I really despise both those teams. I'll be honest, I just don't really give a shit about the Bills. Like, it's almost like, I feel like Giant fans are similar to Washington, where they're like, we hate the Cowboys, we hate the Eagles, but Washington's been so bad for so long, we don't really care. We don't want to see them do well, but like, we just don't care. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm speaking anyone else's language here, but that's my gut feeling on the situation. What else we got in the chat? We all had faith in AG, but he's clearly in over his head. He should have benched Fields for the second half to help the team win. It's about the team, not Fields' feelings. Yeah, it feels like he's securing the tank. Like, Fields is the tank commander. What sucks is, like, we're going to put Tyrod in at some point. He's going to play 2 games, maybe, get hurt, and then we're going to be back to Fields. Like, I've seen this play out. Can we take our seatbelts off yet? Yeah, buckle up. I was the guy arguing for Glenn, so I really hope he turns it around to the point next year feels hopeful. But it's getting bad. His decisions this past game were awful. Very, very hard to watch. Jets had a head coach that came from the offensive side of the ball. In fact, they had 3. 𝐂𝐻𝐿, Kotite, Gase. All 3 weren't very good. Yeah. Doesn't mean you don't go that direction, though. Kingsbury would never come to the Jets. I don't know if it's a never situation. Can we bench a head coach? We should be able to. Sports Talk Nation. Chances are Glenn is back in 26. He has 4 years left and is one of the highest paid head coaches Woody has hired. I don't like it, but no big-time executive or head coach will want anything to do with Woody. Yes, I completely agree. That's why I think he's coming back as well. I said the same thing, especially for the guy with the tattoo. Is that what you're talking to me? Is that what are you agreeing with what I said? I think you are. I can't imagine Jets take any quarterback other than Mendoza or Moore. If neither are on the board, I imagine they go wide receiver or a later swing at quarterback. Yeah, I'm not even entirely sure Moore comes out. If he's still considered like a top 5 pick, he should come out. Mendoza would be my pick right now. I think Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier will start to elevate up some boards, but I don't know if you necessarily have to take him with our top pick. Like, it might be one of those situations where you trade down a little bit, try to recoup some more draft picks. You select a guy that you like. It's hard to kind of gauge right now. I really, really like Sellers, like a lot. Like, I love the physical specimen of him, but I don't want the Jets to kind of touch him with a 10-foot pole because I've seen enough of physical traits. I want, like, boring, and Mendoza is, like, perfectly boring and accurate and, like, very Jared Goff-esque. I would take that. Rusty says, you're crazy, Ryan. Shake my head. Talking about my Bills take? I don't hate the Bills as much as I hate the Dolphins and Patriots. Dave saying, I just don't think it's right to root for a division rival. It's like rooting for Democrat or Republican. I don't know. I think I disagree with that. I think like for a Democrat-Republican side of things, like, you should root for whoever's leading, like, the country and everything. Like that, like, I may not agree with everything, but like I pull for that person to be like the best person for all of us. Division rival, definitely different. Division rival, there is no like anything our division rival does doesn't help at all what we do. It's almost like, so like, it's kind of like rooting for, I think it's just a bad analogy. I see where you're trying to go for it, but I think it's slightly off. We need to get the number 1 pick overall and lock down Mendoza. Yeah, I would kind of be bummed if we wound up missing out on that first overall pick. And like, who are the top teams? It's the Browns will be high up there. So the Browns would probably take a quarterback, which is absolutely crazy after taking 2 quarterbacks this past year. I still can't believe the Ravens are currently on that high. Dolphins could take a quarterback. They paid what's his face, so maybe they wait an extra year. I would have thought the Saints would take a quarterback. They haven't gone edge at 5. Titans won't take a quarterback. Bengals won't take a quarterback. Raiders I could see take one. Giants won't. I don't think the Cardinals will. Texans won't. Dallas is unlikely. I mean, the nice thing is there's not like a crazy ton of teams. Like, we should want Cleveland to win some more games. So that way we have some more. Cleveland and the Saints. I'm big fans of Cleveland and the Saints right now. And honestly, even the Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are going to go anywhere, so them winning as many games as possible just gets them away from quarterback potential. I don't know. Yeah, Stud City says Raiders can take a quarterback. I totally think they're going to take a quarterback. I really do. Gino's trash. Mendoza reminds me of a bigger Kirk Cousins, which would be fine by me. You know what's funny? I mentioned that to my buddy the other day. I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I'm a big Kirk Cousins guy, or at least I was for his time in Washington. And I started my whole channel because I thought the Jets should go after Kirk Cousins that year. And if we could get a Kirk Cousins level quarterback, and that's what Mendoza is, sign me up for that all day. You know, hopefully he has more success in the primetime games than Cousins did, but I would take that. I'm rooting for the Saints to love Ritter. Or Rattler. I keep saying Ritter. Steelers might go quarterback too. Steelers are going to be too far down. Like right now, Steelers are technically the 30th pick. Still early though. Ablab, who is the second worst team? Remaining schedule. Our schedules is kind of light. All right, let me see if I have. I don't know if I have this pulled up correctly. I may not have set this screen up the correct way. Oh, okay, I do have it. All right, so Ablab. Right now, the second worst team is Cleveland. There's a lot of teams. So you got Cleveland, Baltimore, Miami, New Orleans, and Tennessee, all with 1 win. Now, more than likely, Baltimore will win some games. Like that should trickle down. I would think Miami should find a way to win some games. But I do think Tennessee, New Orleans, and Cleveland are probably going to be picking pretty high in this draft. Raiders too. I would look at the Raiders, the Saints, and Cleveland as our biggest worrisome teams of getting a quarterback naturally in front of us. Now, if another team ends up with the number 1 overall pick, now that opens Pandora's box. Now you get a situation where, like, you know, maybe it's the Rams coming up to go make a selection. I think, you know, a team that's a little further back currently right now, the Raiders could go and make that selection. I think there's enough quarterbacks, though. I think the Jets are definitely getting a top 5 pick, and I think there's enough quarterbacks that I probably would not trade up if I'm the Jets. I would probably sit tight and just make that selection. As far as their remaining schedules, let's see. Where do the Jets? Jets have a pretty tough schedule. Oh, no, sorry. Pretty easy schedule the rest of the way out. Our toughest opponents are the Bills once, the Patriots twice, and the Jaguars. The rest of our teams, Saints are picking top 5, Dolphins are picking top 5, Browns are picking top 5, Baltimore's picking top 5, the Bengals are currently picking top 10, and the Panthers are picking top 10. So, like, we got a very easy schedule with this back half right here, which you guys can't even see that final. Let me see if I can drag this over. Boom. So we have some pretty bad teams left. But Cleveland has an easier schedule than us. Probably because we are on their schedule. Same with Cincinnati. Basically, any team that has the Jets is going to be looking pretty good. The Browns, you can see trending in there. Yeah, look, I think we've got a shot to have number 1 overall. And I'm here for it. I'm not necessarily pulling for losses. I do think wins would drastically help the morale of this team. And I think there's enough quarterbacks that I'm okay picking middle of like the top 10. Like, I don't think Mendoza necessarily solves everything, but I do think he's probably the best of the bunch, at least right now. The Flipster says, Ryan, it sucks to see you talking draft so soon. We need to have a good season for you, buddy. I can't imagine hosting Jets videos with how bad they've been these past 15 years. Seems like a chore. Dude, preaching to the choir. Been doing this for, God, I started this in 2017, 2018. I think I started in 2018. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. This is my 8th year doing this. This shit sucks. I haven't covered a winning team. I want to have some fun. I want to win. I haven't covered a team over 7 wins. And honestly, every other year there has been hope, there has been optimism, there has been like we could be trending in the right direction. Last year, really the last 2 years with Aaron Rodgers, where it was the Achilles injury, where it felt like we had the season stolen from us. Last year hurt more than the year before because we had all the pieces and we just still sucked. And then this year is just rough. Like I do feel out of it right now. I do not make as much content as I really would love to make because it's just not good for my mental health. This team has broken me. This team has absolutely crushed me. And I have fun with it, but I'm not going to let it ruin all my days. What do you think happens with 𝐿𝐼 now? Stay and transfer? I don't think he can. I think he's expired all his eligibility. I think he has to come out. So mid to late round pick maybe? Jets should not pick a quarterback this year with the top pick. They need defensive line people. I would not pass on a quarterback for a defensive lineman if there's one you like. That seems like a very bad move. What an easy schedule for us after we lost to the Dolphins. What is an easy schedule to us after we lost to the Dolphins? I mean, it's easy in the sense of like the other teams suck, and that helps us get a higher draft pick because it is such an easy schedule. Because the way draft works, draft order, is if you have a tie with another team, whoever had the easier strength of schedule and lost the same amount of games is technically the worst team. So it's in our favor to have the worst schedule possible to help us get that highest pick possible through tiebreakers. Right now, if we win one game, we immediately fall down to at least pick 4, possibly pick 5. 1, 2, 3. No, we would fall to pick 4. Maybe pick 3. It depends how the tiebreaker with Miami goes. But we're playing Baltimore and Cleveland too, so like it really jacks up everything this early in the season. It's hard to really look too hard at it right now. But it is good for us to have an easy schedule for the sake of tiebreakers. Should we trade for Sanders? No. I don't want to do that. Sorless, take 2 quarterbacks, 1 early in the first, then take 𝐿𝐼 later, 2 chances to hit. Oh, God. I'll be honest. I don't really want to do that either. We have 11 games left. Do you have some hope? No. I don't have any hope. I think that I had the Jets at 6 wins. I don't see us winning 6 wins out of the next 11. So I'm going to be way over on my selections, on my thought process for where we were going to be. But I don't know. Boys and girls, I'm going to call it here. I'm tapped out. I'm tired. I'm going to go cry myself to sleep. You know how it goes. Look, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. I really appreciate you tuning in and hanging out and sticking with me through this really, really shitty season. So, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.